Yesterday, we had a very special flock tournament. Today, there are also new tournaments that we're going to be able to hop into. So let's go ahead. Let's pull this up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the new tournaments, there are two of them. One I would for sure recommend to new people on Underdog Fantasy. You have the Dachshund, I believe that's how you say it. This is an $8 entry, 4-entry max, $200,000 prize pool. And then you have the Rottweiler as well, which is a $25 buy-in, a little bit of a smaller field, but obviously $25 buy-in is going to lead to a higher prize pool. We'll get in the $4 buy-in first, and then we are going to hop into the $25 one after this. But we are in, and let's go. And yes, happy Friday, everybody. Happy to see you, Brett. Thank you for stopping by. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. I mean, oh, and I have some really good news for y'all as well. At least I think it's pretty good news. So we had the exclusive flock tournament on Underdog last night. Went so well that Underdog agreed that every Monday night and every Thursday night, there will be a flock tournament dropping. Yes. Every Monday, every Thursday on Underdog Fantasy, we will have a flock tournament. Good for everybody to get in. Super exciting. But let's go ahead. Let's see if we have any questions. Reed says going to the Rangers games tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun, my guy. But Luke says, is St. Brown, H.N. Jacobs a good start at pick 5? If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, yes. But honestly, I'd probably rather go with a running back in round 1 if you can get Breece Bijan, and then go with the wide receiver there in round 2 or 3. I think I'd rather go like Breece round 1 than Jacobs round 3. I think you're going to get a strong running back value round 3 if that's where the RBs are going. I'm sorry, strong receiver value. But let's go. Chris in this draft with us at pick 10. TJ says, thoughts on the new kickoff? I don't know if we talked about this yesterday, but I am happy the NFL is trying something new because the current kickoff sucks. Now, am I going to sit here and act like I'm a genius and I know exactly how this new kickoff system's going to go? No, it could also suck. We'll see. But it's nice that it's new. Yeah, Underdog is available in all these states here, my friend. It is available in Michigan. It wasn't available in Michigan last year, but should be available in Michigan now. You can see the map on the screen. And, of course, please, in the live chat, correct me if I'm wrong. But Justin in this draft with us at pick 4. Let's go. Let's go. Now, Jefferson makes it down to 7. Interesting to see Bijan over Jefferson here. It's a continued trend that Garrett Wilson's also going over Puka Nacua. Personally, I do prefer Puka over Wilson. So it's nice for me because I'm going to come away with a lot of Puka in drafts. Puka goes, I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs, and we are also going to reach on Deebo Samuel. Just because we are trying to have a little bit of a unique start at the 1-2 turn. Obviously, people like the week 17 bring back. It's a unique combo based off how ADP lines up. There's the outside chance that Brandon Ayuk gets dealt. And if that does happen, Deebo Samuel would be my highest ranked wide receiver out of everybody available. But really, I mean, they're all in the same tier for us. And we're just trying to go through and we are trying to have a unique start in this tournament based off ADPs. And it's going to be very difficult to start running back, knowing that I personally probably want to go with an elite tight end at the 3-4 turn. But Ryan says, are Benson and Corum the best at the 109 and 112 with a dynasty running back needy team? If it is a 1 quarterback format, I think you can. If it is a super flex format, I would say 109, 112 would be way too early for Benson and Corum. Dale says, I went to see a Deadpool movie and missed the entire flock tournament. Yes, the flock tournament filled very, very quickly. Don't know if you heard me say it earlier, my friend, but please, and make sure y'all say this in the live chat so I don't have to repeat it 1,000 times. The flock tournament is going to drop every Monday and every Thursday until the season starts going forward. We should have a ton of them. Yeet says, non-PPR 16-team league, draft pick is 6th. Thinking about picking either Breece or JT, what do you think? I think JT and running back in general is definitely more interesting in a non-PPR format. My initial reaction is JT at 6 seems extremely aggressive. All I'll say is definitely take CMC, Bijan, Breece Hall over him. Since it's a non-PPR format and it's a 14-team league, I'm not going to sit here and scream, oh my gosh, You need to go with the wide receiver at pick 6. Like, I understand where you're coming from. JT at 6 still feels very aggressive, even in non-PPR format. But I'm definitely going to go JT if we can. Okay. Vinny says, will the flock tourney be 20-second timers? Asking for a friend. I reached out to Underdog, and I asked if the next flock tournaments can be 20-second timers. They said they will let me know, but probably, I would imagine. But, of course, real quick, if you don't know what we are doing here, we've done this every single day for years. I'll do this every single day going into the future. My favorite place to draft is Underdog Fantasy. They're best ball, so there's no time commitment during the year. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every offseason. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And, of course, if you want to join a draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, in the live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you will get my 2024 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, which will update every week. You'll get my 2024 Fantasy Football Rankings updated every week. You'll get my 2024 Consensus ADP, which is a little bit of a draft cheat sheet that you're able to use in your draft. We're going to update that every week for you as well. Plus, you're going to get a deposit bonus up to $250. And if you use code FLOCK, only for code FLOCK users, you're also going to get a CMC half a rushing yard, higher, lower for week 1. So make sure you are taking advantage of that. You can find it all with the link in the description, code FLOCK. And you do need to have that account for 2024, though. If you signed up with code FLOCK like 3 years ago, you're going to get the CMC special pick'em, but you're not going to get the draft guide emails and stuff. And also, just clarity, the draft guides, everything got sent out last night for anybody who used code FLOCK on Underdog in 2024. I'm going to send it out updated every single Sunday until the season starts. So like if you signed up for it, say tomorrow, then on Sunday, you're going to get that email with the updated draft guide, with the updated rankings, with the updated consensus ADP cheat sheet. But we're going to go with Travis Kelce, T. Higgins here. I know we at least need to get one wide receiver at the turn, just given that how the teardrops are going to happen. And I think if you look at the way that ADP lines up, this is just going to be a very unique team where I don't think anybody's really going to be able to replicate what they can if they want to, but I doubt very many people are going to reach on ADP the way that we have at the spots that we have. And also, if you look at the wide receivers that are available in round 4, like Christian Kirk, I think he has a cap ceiling. George Pickens, I think honestly at this ADP is probably someone you don't want to be drafting until we get official Brandon Ayuk news. Because right now you have, I don't know. I mean, you have half of Twitter screaming that Brandon Ayuk has signed a contract extension. It's going to be announced any day now. And you have the other half of Twitter screaming that Brandon Ayuk is about to get traded. And it sounds like a lot of people are assuming Pittsburgh is the destination. So I don't know. It's a tough spot to take Ayuk with where he's currently going. If I thought he was a phenomenal value, I would say, you know what? I don't care. Let's keep taking him. But my thing is, I don't think he's that much better of a pick than like Amari Cooper, you know? And then Tanner asking if we're low on Zay Flowers. After your wide receiver video, I thought you'd want him in a good offense. 100%. Zay Flowers checks a lot of the boxes that we want. Typically, the boxes that we like at wide receiver. One, we really like drafting wide receivers that are in good offenses. 2, we really like drafting wide receivers that were good rookies going into year 2. So I really like Zay Flowers for that reason, but I personally do have Zay Flowers in the same tier as T. Higgins. And if you look at the way that ADP lines up with Zay Flowers having an ADP at 36, there are going to be a lot of like Jahmyr Gibbs, Zay Flower combos, where there are going to be a lot of Zay Flowers, Travis Kelce combos, where there aren't going to be many T. Higgins, Kelce combos. And at the same time, like I said, I do think that T. Higgins and Zay Flowers are in a similar tier. I mean, T. Higgins is in a better offense than Zay Flowers is. Okay. Jack says, any news on the Flock League that you can share? Oh, okay, is this for flockfantasy.com? Yeah, I can talk about it real quick. Kyle Pitts off the board. We're going to take Calvin Ridley for sure post DeAndre Hopkins injury. And then here at 61, I think it's a little bit of a tougher spot to figure out what we're going to do. You could go Kittle and try to go bully tight end. I actually am okay doing that, but I think it's probably preferable when you get the tight end in round 5. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to make sure that we get our next wide receiver, just because the way that the teardrops are on Underdog. The wide receivers that are going to be available to us to pick 84, 85, they're going to be gross. I don't want to be taking a wide receiver in that range, so might as well get ahead of it. But Keon Coleman getting steamed up to pick 63 here. Keon Coleman was one of my most drafted, probably still is one of my most drafted wide receivers when he was going at wide receiver 47. But yeah, so with the Flock League, this is going to be, I don't know if we have made this announcement in a while. I'll get y'all a link. But yeah, so we created the new YouTube channel. I myself and a bunch of other fantasy football YouTubers are going to be doing a public redraft league this year where the draft is going to be August 21st. We are going to live stream the draft. We're going to make a bunch of content. It's not going to be like a YouTube channel that is saying like, oh, you must draft these 5 players. You need these 5 guys, yada, yada, yada. That's not what the channel is. And instead, it's more like entertainment, behind the scenes, us talking trash to each other, us making trades with each other. And if you've seen like the FX show way back in the day, The League, I'm hoping it's going to be like that, but should be a ton of fun. Everybody is coming into town for Austin, Texas. August 19th, we're going to do the in-person draft the 21st. We're going to do the meetup the 22nd. And yeah, it should be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully we have a video soon. And yeah, I just sent the link in the live chat if you wanted to subscribe to that YouTube channel, if that sounds like something you're interested in. Like I said, it's not going to be fantasy football advice. Like, definitely don't subscribe to the channel if you're trying to figure out like, oh, here are the 5 guys you must draft. It's more so we're going to have this massive fantasy football league. That's going to be the league I care most about this year, to be honest with you. And really, it should be really fun and exciting to watch. Okay. Now, Jackson Smith and Jigba going off the board 73. Alvin Kamara 74. Kate says, why does it say $4 instead of $8? Oh, I didn't realize this. I completely forgot. Might be. This is an $8 buy-in, not a $4 buy-in. My mistake. Okay. Let's see. And for us at this point, more likely than not, we are going to go ahead. We are going to take some running backs at pick 84, 85. What is very interesting to see is if you look at the historical data for these underdog drafts, if you take 0 wide receivers through the first 4 rounds, you're pretty much just sacrificing. Sacrificing any shot that you have to do anything on underdog. The wide receiver tier drop happens so early. It's not like a redraft league. You can't just hit the waiver wire and try to find some guys. So the team at 6, I don't know. They have a red badge. I don't know what they're doing. But they've taken a total of 0 receivers through the first 7 rounds. Enemy of Cruelty says, saw a video concerning players getting their suspensions for DUIs within 6 months after their arrest. 6 months puts Addis in suspension about week 15. I think if you were looking at any kind of that data, it's extremely difficult to extrapolate because it's a very limited sample size. Please let me know in the live chat right now. And of course, I may just be forgetting. Let me know in the chat, how many players have we seen over the past 5 years? Because obviously the NFL is not standing true to suspension policies that they had 15 years ago. Over the past 5 years, how many players have we seen get suspended for DUIs? Be very interested. Ramondre Stevenson off the board 82. So if we were to go CJ Stroud, we are going to have to target Dalton Schultz a little later on. See what Neaston does. They go James Conner. They kind of call our bluff on taking Stroud. I'm not doing it. I think we're going to take Zamir Whites at running back. And then speaking of potentially suspended wide receivers, I will take Jordan Addison. I'll continue to draft him. I'm probably stupid for doing so, but it is what it is. I'm not asking how many wide receivers, any players have been suspended for DUIs. I'm just, give me a name. You know what I mean? Give me a name so we can go through and we can try to figure it out. Because, I tried my hardest to make the Jordan Addison, to make the Rashee Rice video where I try to grab every suspension that I could over the past 5 years and see if there's a common trend and see what we could find from them. I used every little AI tool you could imagine to try to scrape this. I went to NFL.com. I filled out Google spreadsheets for a couple hours, and it's just so hard to find the data, and it's all a case-by-case scenario. But I can't. Like Ruggs didn't get suspended for a DUI. Ruggs got put in prison for killing someone. Josh Gordon was back when the NFL still cared about players smoking weed. I don't want to break this news to anybody, and of course I'm just speculating. I could be wrong, but we've had 0 NFL suspensions for possession or for failed weed drug tests over the past 5 years. Do you think there are a total of 0 NFL players that smoke weed? No, it's just the NFL doesn't care about it anymore. Okay. But long story short, wide receivers get in trouble all the time, and typically nothing happens. Okay. Tom says, Mason, do you prefer injured Hopkins or suspension looming Addison? I can't decide which one to take a chance on in the Keon Coleman range. I personally prefer Jordan Addison, but that's because I prefer Jordan Addison well before DeAndre Hopkins got injured, and well before Jordan Addison got the suspension risk. Brady says, keep in mind, Mason, the second year in a row that Addison has a DUI. Addison did not get a DUI last year. He got a misdemeanor for being the dumbest person ever and thinking it was a good idea to drive down the highway at 140 miles an hour, or not even the highway, 55 mile an hour place. So Jacob says, if only prime Josh Gordon played in the age where it's legal to smoke now. If only, my friend. And I got a special guest for y'all. Drum roll, please. She's here outside the door waiting to come say hi. Are y'all ready? Come on, get in here. Get in here. Get in here. I know you wanted to say hi. You want to say hi to everybody? You're not allowed under the desk, though. It'll hurt my back. Come over here. Scoot your boot, girl. Come here. Say what's up, party people. What's up? Y'all use code FLOCK and Underdog? Y'all get the draft guide? Y'all drafting with us in the Flock tournament? You tell them? Good girl, baby. Go on the other side. Go on the other side. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We will take Joe Burrow here, 108. I was jealous of Neeston getting the double stack with Stroud at a really strong value. I mean, here we get Burrow paired up with Higgins at that strong value. If we're looking at potential stacks that we have later on, there are a handful of them. I kind of just want to go Jaden Daniels unstacked with the rushing upside and go 2 quarterbacks. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to double tap Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels. I think both are very strong values at this point. And obviously, Daniels don't really need to have stacked up, just given the fact that he does have a ton of rushing upside in his own right. And then Burrow we have stacked with Higgins. Yeah, but she is a great Pyrenees. She is, I don't even know. She needs to be in a person's company. Girlfriend's not here, so I just hear outside the door. She's really good about it. Like I would yell at her because she would, I don't know. But when she scratches the door to be let in, she does it. I know every dog person talking about the dog's really annoying. I understand it, but y'all got to bear with me. But she scratches the door like as softly as she can, and then progressively just goes a little bit harder until if you don't let her in, she's punching the door as hard as she can. Okay. Yes, I take her to Zilker. She's gone to the last few Flock meetups. So I wonder if there's anybody in this live stream that's been to a Flock meetup the last 4 years that's probably seen her. Literally, usually when we're at the park for the Flock meetup, I go, look for the big white dog, and you can find us. But sadly, she will not be at the meetup this year because the meetup will be inside. And you know who will be at the meetup this year? You. Yes, you. I mean, there are 550 of y'all in here. Simple math, I would assume, based off population statistics, probably about 50 or 60 of y'all live in Texas. You better be in Austin, Texas, August 22nd. You better be at the meetup. 6:30, Holdout Brewing. I'll be there. Bunch of other fantasy football YouTubers will be there. Should be a ton of fun. Bunch of people talking fantasy football. We are selling tickets on flockfantasy.store just so I can tell the venue how many people are going to show up. But they're $15. I'm giving away free merch that cost me more than $15 to make. I got the venue to agree to half price beer. I'm losing money. Sorry, they're $15, but go to flockfantasy.store and come hang out with us. Okay. Yes, John will be a security at the place. Glimpse says in Wisconsin, so that's tough. I get it, my friend, but I will say if you are coming from out of town, we've had a few people say that they are. Just because, so the only reason we're selling tickets is because we need to keep track of how many people are coming. But if you're coming out of town and getting a hotel, all you have to do, and one, hotels in Austin are cheap. You can get a good one for like $90. Two, just send me like your hotel confirmation and tell me how many tickets you want. And if you get a hotel in Austin, I know you're coming and you don't need to buy a ticket, and I'll put your name down for however many tickets you want. But Dotson goes 126, which is a little bit frustrating here. Dotson ADP 139. So we do get sniped on the potential Jahan Dotson, Jaden Daniels stack, but it's not the end of the world, right? Because when you take Jaden Daniels, this is going to be a quarterback that has the rushing upside where you don't necessarily need to have him stacked up. Ray says, I live in Austin, Texas, and I didn't even know this. Well, my friend, go to flockfantasy.store. For the love of God, get yourself a ticket right now. We're trying to make this meetup pop. All right. So far, here's the list. Myself, a bunch of fantasy football YouTubers, and John standing outside because he hasn't bought his ticket yet. But Neaston on the clock. Let's see what they decide to do. Zach Charbonnet, I love Charbonnet in this range. Honestly, this is going to be a little bit weird, but we're going to take Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford, especially now that you have the Deonta Foreman injury. If we're able to just monopolize every single Cleveland Browns running back touch at pick 132 and 133, while typically I'm not going out of my way to try to pair up running back teammates together, I think at this kind of cost, it's almost a no-brainer. At this cost, I am perfectly fine with it, and I'm really excited about it. Okay. Now, Leggett goes 135, Jerry Jeudy 136, and Cole Kmet 137. So after we go Chubb and Ford, we're still going to be taking a running back. One potential issue is now 3 of our running backs are on the week 10 bye. If we were in the eliminator, if we were in the marathon, I'd be pretty worried about it. Obviously here we are trying to maximize upside for the fantasy football playoff stretch in weeks 15, 16, 17. So it's not the end of the world having a bunch of players on the same bye, but Kate says I took Hopkins 102. Am I an idiot? Not at all, my friend. Not at all. I mean, Hopkins 102, it does seem like a very reasonable price. Okay. So I just got finished putting together like the consensus 2024 ADP. I got ADP from Sleeper. I got ADP from Underdog, ADP from ESPN, ADP from Yahoo. And I put them all together so you can reference them against each other. So if you're drafting on ESPN, right, you may be in a league where you're like, oh, okay, this guy's great value. He's fallen 10 picks past ADP. And then you realize, oh, he's going 3 rounds later than this on Yahoo. I should kind of ignore this ADP. So I think it's should be very useful as like a cheat sheet kind of in a way for y'all to take 2 drafts. But what's very interesting is if you look at TJ Hawkinson in redraft leagues like on Sleeper, ESPN, Yahoo is going significantly earlier than Underdog drafts, where I'd assume that Underdog is maybe even more important because you're really only drafting for upside in the final 3 weeks, or primarily you are. Chicago says, congrats on the Takey nominee. My guy, I was freaking robbed. I was told I got runner-up, but to be honest with you, I don't know how that's possible. We should have won that, and my lawyers are in action. But yes, if y'all want another draft, make sure you go down there, hit that like button. If we hit 300 likes on the stream, we'll fire up another one. And yeah, there are a bunch of new Underdog tournaments right now, which I'm really excited about. But anyway, so I'm sure y'all noticed the email we sent out for everybody who'd use code FLOCK on Underdog in 2024, which is going to be sent out to every Sunday. So if you use code FLOCK today, you're going to get the email on Sunday. The initial email did not include the ADP cheat sheet just because I did not have it done at that point. But it should be done. I'm sorry, now it's done. It's on flockfantasy.com. And the next time we send out that email update, it will be in the email for everybody. I don't know where we should go. Douglas, Burton, Johnson are all falling like rocks. Bateman really only goes here because of Lamar teams. I'll for sure take Bateman in round 14 when I have Lamar. But we are going to go with Chuba Hubbard, Wan'Dale Robinson. I feel good about the Chuba pick. I take a lot of Chuba Hubbard in this range. But the Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't know. I know we need a wide receiver. We're not taking another quarterback when we have Burrow, Daniels. The best tight end available is Noah Fant. Not a super big Noah Fant guy. So it is what it is. King Chris says, where did I get the cheat sheet on the main page? Yeah, that's going to be the 2024 consensus ADP. And if there's another platform that you want added to it, or if you want my rankings in a column added to it, we can do that. But you can also just find my rankings on the site or in the draft guide, which will both be updated on Sunday. Okay. Desire Best says, when will the team review podcast come out? So if you submitted a team review on flockfantasy.com after this live stream tonight, I'm going to probably be up until 1 a.m. recording those. I'm sorry, just over the past few days, I've been working my freaking butt off to get everything set up for the meetup, getting the draft guide out, the whole 9 yards, but it's calmed down now that the draft guide's out. Now with the draft guide, I'm going to add some chapters in terms of just overall strategy based off your league formats and stuff, but everything has calmed down a bit, and we'll tonight for sure just be doing a ton of team reviews. Okay. Now, Ray Davis goes pick 168. Antonio Gibson goes 167. Good for us to see running backs go, right? We're only wide receiver and we're only tied in through the rest of this. I mean, a wide receiver, we're sitting with Deebo Samuel, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, and then Wan'Dale Robinson. So it's not like we're horrible at receiver. We have Kelsey at tight end. At running back, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Zamir White, Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Chuba Hubbard. And quarterback, we have Burrow stacked with Higgins, and then we have an unstacked Jaden Daniels. We can go Ben Sinnott here at the end of this draft if we wanted to. We're probably going to go with the 3 tight end builds when we wait this long, take our second. King Chris says, oh, I see it now. Had to refresh. Yeah, I mean, I just uploaded that ADP consensus cheat sheet like right before we started the stream. Okay. Now, Elijah Mitchell goes 172. We are wide receiver tight end. Juice first says Ertz last pick. Did have the coaching staff coming out saying like, oh, what Ertz brings to this team is Ertz is a great red zone, blah, blah, blah. I mean, so it should sound a little bit concerning if you were drafting a ton of Ben Sinnott this year that Zach Ertz may have a role in the red zone this season. But we'll see. We'll see. Jacob says, would Jalen Tolbert for Dallas be a good last pick? Could maybe fight Cooks for the number 2 receiver. In underdog drafts, yes. If you take Jalen Hurts around 17, 18 as like the wide receiver 80, and he comes out and he's the wide receiver 40, and he gives you a couple spike weeks, it can be a great pick in best ball. It can really help your teams here. However, if you are in your regular redraft league and you take, say, Jalen Tolbert with your last pick as the wide receiver 70, and he comes out and he's the wide receiver 40, it just simply does not matter for your team at all. And you're way better off with your last pick, just taking a running back that you don't necessarily know what their role is going to be week 1. But if it is nice, then all of a sudden you could get a pretty big spike in value. But Vinny says, went to check community rankings on Flock Fantasy site. Looks like the Flockers love Saquon, 14th overall. which let me pull up where he is on the consensus ADP. So yeah, if y'all don't know, we have the redraft rankings on the site live. And just to let you know, the community rankings, that is from everybody who uses the site. So if you go to the rankings on flogfantasy.com, you're going to be prompted saying like, would you rather have this guy or this guy? You let us know who you would rather have. We take that data point in our back end. We have a formula where we're able to come up with community rankings and values for everybody. So of course you can sort by community rankings. You can sort by expert rankings. Expert rankings are my rankings and then all the other YouTube creators that are on there. Or you could just click a filter and then just sort by my rankings if that's all you want. Cam Got Kick says, 2-player keeper league. Keeping St. Brown for a second. Should we keep Jefferson for a first, Achane for a 14th, or London in the 10th? I think it almost matters where your first round pick is going to be. Because say you have the 101 or the 102, and you could keep Achane in the 14th, and you could just draft Jefferson with your first round pick, then I think it's an easy spot to just keep Achane in the 14th, draft Jefferson in the first, then effectively be able to have Jefferson, Achane, and St. Brown. But the issue is if instead you're picking at the very end of your draft where you're just simply not going to get the option to take a player of that caliber in the first, where instead in the first round, maybe you're looking at somebody like Devontae Adams, or you're looking at Devonta Smith, you're looking at DK Metcalf because it's a keeper league. Then there, would I rather have like DK Metcalf and Devon Achane, or would I rather have Justin Jefferson? I'd probably rather have Jefferson. So if it's a very late first round pick, I'm probably keeping Jefferson. If it's a very early first round pick, we're going to get a very high quality player, I may keep Achane. But we'll see. We'll see. Yes, but if you have not done so already, hit that like button. If we hit 300 likes, we are firing up another draft after this, which checking in, it looks like 339 of y'all voted on the poll, but apparently I don't know how many have hit the like button. But Chicago says, how'd the flock tournament that filled yesterday come about? Essentially just me talking with Underdog, asking, because we have the 3-year partnership. I'm going to be with Underdog over the next 3 years. And they were asking if there was anything that they could do for the overall like flock community, do for myself and all of y'all. So they suggested that we were able to do flock tournaments. We did the flock tournament on Thursday nights. It went very well. It filled within like 3 or 4 hours. And Underdog agreed this morning that they will get us a flock draft tournament every Monday and Thursday night until the season starts. So it should be super fun. Tyler Boyd goes pick 200. And then also Underdog got y'all hooked up with the Christian McCaffrey higher or lower if you use code FLOCK. This doesn't matter if you use code FLOCK 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, today, tomorrow, yesterday. As long as you use code FLOCK before that Niners game, week 1, you will get that exclusive FLOCK special pick'em. Okay. But we are going to be going wide receiver tight end here at the 17-18 turn pretty easily. Yeah, the flock tournament showed up on the same page as the other Underdog tournaments. They just put it at the very end because they figured that it was going to fill quickly, and they wanted to make sure that we were able to do our 3 teams on the live stream. Okay, we're going to do Juwan Johnson, and then we're going to do this wide receiver that I don't even know how to say his name, but apparently he's supposed to be the wide receiver 3 now in Cincinnati. They're claiming that he's maybe going to beat out Burton. We'll see. I don't know, but it should be a pseudo-unique pick if you look at the way the ADPs line up. I'm not even going to try to make that argument, but we have Joe Burrow, so might as well go ahead and take him. And let's show this. So running back, we have Gibbs, Zamir White, Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Chuba. Quarterback, we have Burrow, Daniels. Tight end, we have Kelsey, Sanat, Juwan Johnson. And wide receiver, we have Deebo Samuel, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Godwin, Addison, Robinson, Chark, and hopefully the wide receiver 3 in Cincy. But we're just going to hop another draft. I don't think we hit 300 likes, but I don't care. I just want to make sure that we're getting these entries in before this draft fills. So we're going to get in another $8 draft, just because if we're looking at the $8 one versus the $25 one, it looks like the $8 one's filling quickly, and I want to get my entries in before it's too late. But we're pick 6, so pick 6 should be a much better spot for us now. Pick 12, you don't have an option to get an elite receiver. Here at pick 6, we're going to get Jefferson. We're going to get St. Brown. We'll figure it out. But George says, in an ESPN single flex league, are you going to go Lamb or Brees? So for that format, how I currently have it ranked is I have CMC 1, I have Lamb 2, Tyreek 3, Brees 4, Bijan 5. So if I'm in a underdog basketball draft, I'm pushing Brees and Bijan down to 7 and 8. But in a regular redraft league, I'm going to be going Brees and Bijan 4 and 5. Okay. Ian in this draft with us. Let me know where you at, my guy. Let me know. And Chase asking how many players we try to hit in each position on Underdog. 2 to 3 quarterbacks. The earlier you take your quarterbacks, the more likely you're to go 2. The later you take them, the more likely you are to go 3. 4 to 6. I mean, really just 5 to 6 running backs. 2 to 3 tight ends, and the rest of your spots are wide receivers. Anywhere from 6 to 9 receivers based off what you had to do at the other positions. Okay. Bolt says, how do I find this draft? Go to the lobby on Underdog, click NFL, and then just scroll to the end. I mean, there are a zillion Underdog tournaments you can enter right now. Chase goes off at 4. Ian is in here, pick 3 with us. Let's go, my guy. Card Muffin 5 goes Jefferson. We're going to get St. Brown. Like I said, we are either going to go Jefferson, St. Brown, essentially whoever falls to us. But they're going to be great running back values that we like later on. So it's really easy to just go with the elite wide receiver in round 1 and then put ourselves in a position where we can afford to go with the running backs later. Gino Firm 2K out here with us at pick 9. Let's go. AJ Brown goes at 7. A little bit of an interesting pick. Typically, you're not seeing Brown go ahead of Bijan and Brees. You'll occasionally see him go ahead of one of the running backs, but typically not both. Antler Ice and another draft. Antler Ice is coming to the Flock meetup. If anybody else wants to follow suit. But Gino says, always get my man Brees. Let's go. Brees is, I think, my most drafted round 1 guy. I think Bijan's my least drafted round 1 player. But let me pull this up. So I get text alerts, obviously, on my debit and credit cards. And for flockfantasy.com, we do everything through AWS. So obviously, we have an AWS bill that gets auto-paid at the end of every month. But every month I get like that text saying like Amazon Web Services charge this. And I just see like Amazon and then a pretty high number. And I go, oh my God, what did I buy? I didn't think I bought anything until I realized. But let me pull this up. Bijan, I have in 5%. Actually, McCaffrey is probably my least drafted. I have McCaffrey in 4%. Lamb in 8, Tyreek in 8. Chase an 8, which is what I was expecting. I should be in line with all those guys. Jefferson at 11. St. Brown at 10. A.J. Brown at 7. And Brees at 13%. So, yeah, Brees is my most drafted round 1 guy. Okay. We'll take Jonathan Taylor. The way the ADP looks like, it's maybe a somewhat unique start going St. Brown, Taylor at the gate. The way that we get Taylor falling is Adams and Waddle both go ahead of him here at 18 and 17. Godspeed says, why Brees over Bijan? Brees was significantly better than Bijan last year, and a lot of their catalysts, a lot of Bijan's catalysts to get better, you can say the same thing about Brees. Bijan gets a quarterback and an overall offensive upgrade, so does Brees Hall. Breece Hall also gets improvements in the offensive line, and Breece Hall also is a year more removed from the torn ACL, and he was a better running back already last season. God, I need to have a dog cam for y'all. That little girl across the room just looks so freaking cute. You are a good girl. Okay. Henry says, I forgot this is 20 seconds. Dyson says, 10-team full PPR fifth pick. Better to stash running back or receiver and chase St. Brown or Breece with that pick. If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, 10-team league, I'd say running back. And then with that pick, I'm probably going to go Breece. And your regular redraft league, I have Breece ranked ahead of Chase and St. Brown. Here in Underdog, it's a little bit different just because you're going to get great running back values later. We'll go DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf shouldn't be a super common value here at 30. I'm not a big Metcalf guy. I still am underweight DK Metcalf because typically in round 3, I'm going with someone like Kyren Williams. Y'all know Kyren Williams is my most drafted round 3 option, but Kyron's definitely been rising up boards as of late. Dyson says 2 flex spots. I still probably go Breece, but especially with it being a 10-team league. The thing is, in your regular redraft league, in a 10-team league, you're going to get such strong wide receiver values in the middle rounds. It's almost the opposite of Underdog, where on Underdog, I always want to say, oh, you're going to get such strong running back values in the middle rounds. Where there, it's just completely different. Okay. Derrick Henry goes pick 34. Desire Best is 35% DJ Moore. You know what? So I wasn't like, every year, obviously I get the football itch. But this year I felt in June and July, I didn't really have the football itch as I had in the years past. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the season to get here. I can't wait to see how this stuff plays out. But I don't know if it's because we're actually getting like film and stuff now of these guys at training camp. I don't know if it's because we're actually getting news, but I cannot wait to see how some of this stuff plays out. And one of the situations I can't wait for is just to see what happens in Chicago. It's like you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. No idea how the target distribution is going to be between the 3 guys. Even at running back, you don't know what's going to happen between Swift, Khalil, and Roshan. Like, I'm really, just every single one of these picks, I'm like, other than the round 1 guys. The round 1 guys are typically pretty boring. I mean, everybody talks about him. Everybody thinks about him. You're not going to be able to find some like massive edge. That's why, like, if I read my exposures of guys in rounds 1, they're all about the same. You know, I'm not going like all in on Justin Jefferson. I'm not going all in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have their positives. They have their negatives. There's a reason why they're being drafted there. So I think a lot of the round 1 guys are boring, at least the elite players. Like CMC, Lamb, Tyreek, Chase, Jefferson, St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Bijan, Breece. But then after that, like you look at, like what is going to happen with the Jets? What is going to happen between Puka and Kupp? What is going to happen with the Falcons? How does Nico Dell Diggs play out? Like there's so many situations where I just can't wait to see what happens. And not from like a, oh, I want to be proven right standpoint. Not from like, oh, I can't wait to see what my teams do standpoint. Legitimately just because it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm watching a TV show and I'm waiting for the final season. I'm like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen. What's going to happen? But Chase, longtime member of the flock, says, why is Henry falling? Derrick Henry, from my point of view, is a running back going into year 3. I mean, going in to his age 30, 31 season, depending on where you do the cutoff. He turns 31 in January. That is declined for 3 straight years. That will not catch any balls out of the backfield. Now, the efficiency should go up given the fact that Lamar's running alongside him. And it's a much better situation than what he saw in Tennessee. But I'll say I'm okay with the Derrick Henry price point with where he goes in underdog drafts at the 3-4 turn. I've taken Derrick Henry a decent amount in the 4th. My problem with Henry is if you're in a full PPR format, to take him in round 2 is just so damn aggressive. But Charlie says, congrats on your partnership. Who is your bold prediction this year to rise and fall in Dynasty? Yours are Zach Moss, top 10 running back, and Nick Chubb plays one game. I'll tell you right now, if Nick Chubb plays one game, I don't want to say I'm getting crushed, but I'm getting crushed. So Zach Moss is never going to be a top 10 running back in Dynasty. Even if Zach Moss is like the running back 6 from a points per game perspective this year, if you look at how the Dynasty community values these aging running backs, I mean, Moss is on his 3rd team. He's not cracking the top 10 in Dynasty value next offseason. I'm not going to say Zach Moss can't be a top 10 running back this year. Zach Moss can be a top 10 RB. I'm not a massive fan of his profile, but ultimately he's a running back that's the starter, at least the perceived starter at the moment, in one of the best offenses in the NFL, who flashed last season. Of course he can crush. My bold predictions, who are going to rise and fall in Dynasty, I think Jordan Addison is going to be a massive riser. I think if you look at Dynasty ADP today versus Dynasty ADP 12 months from now, Jordan Addison will be going a lot higher. From a Dynasty perspective on who's going to be falling, let's try to figure something out. I don't have any super hot takes on players to be falling dramatically. I mean, I'm not a big Ladd McConkey fan, but he's in a great spot. There are guys like specifically for 2024 that I have hot takes with that I just simply wouldn't draft because I don't see where the ceiling is. Like one of those options is I was going to go George Kittle here. That kind of sucks. I think now we're going to pivot over to Rachaad White, but someone that I don't think has really the upside of return value on where he's being drafted is like Christian Kirk. If I want to go with hot takes, I think Christian Kirk's undraftable at this price. I think Terry McLaurin's undraftable at this price. Like those guys go in round 4. I just don't see it. Another I mean, one of my hot takes at running back that we put out in the video yesterday is I think Josh Jacobs outscores Derrick Henry straight up. And in redraft leagues, Josh Jacobs goes at the 3-4 turn. Derrick Henry goes in round 2. And in best ball, Derrick Henry goes round 3. Jacobs goes round 5. Yeah, I think Hollywood was also undraftable at the 4-5 turn. Hollywood's fallen a bit, though. He's a little bit better now. Aiden says, what advantages should I look with my league on ESPN? I have the 6th pick in a 10-team redraft. If you're in your regular redraft league, typically you're just going to get phenomenal wide receiver options in the middle rounds. And because of so, you're most likely in a good spot to just go through and grab an elite running back early, grab an elite tight end and an elite quarterback early, especially if you're going to be playing in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Quarterback and tight end is going to make up a significantly higher percentage of your starting lineup output. So it does make a lot of sense to grab an elite quarterback and tight end and kind of just exploit your league format. But we are set up in an awkward spot where we don't have any quarterbacks. We don't have any tight ends. So we need to be thinking of potential quarterback stacks that we can be looking at later on. So we could go Ladd McConkey and target Justin Herbert. Ladd's dealing with an injury that's we don't have a ton of information with right now. We could go JSN and then pair JSN and Metcalf together and target Geno Smith later. So yeah, Ladd goes. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins kind of undraftable at this point. So we are going to go with JSN and put ourselves in a spot where we're most likely going to be targeting Geno Smith. And sounds like, yeah, Geno was dealing with an injury. Sounds like it's all cleared up where we don't necessarily have anything to worry about. And of course, real quick, if you have not, and Andy says, if Daniels is amazing, which reports say is, how does his number 1 receiver not succeed? Bunch of different things to tackle here, my friend. 1, Jaden Daniels, just because reports are saying that he is great, it doesn't mean that he is guaranteed to be great. Training camp reports coming out saying Drake May doesn't look good and Jaden Daniels looks great. Almost useless. Throw him in the garbage. It doesn't matter. I think Jaden Daniels can be a phenomenal NFL quarterback. I think Jaden Daniels could come out here and absolutely crush. But if you look at the profile that Daniels has, while yes, the passing volume was crazy at LSU, he had Malik Neighbors, he had Brian Thomas, it was college. Right now, if you look at props, if you look at odds makers for this next season, it looks like Washington is going to be one of the lower passing volume offenses in the NFL. Right now, sportsbooks have Washington, I believe, as the 7th worst offense in the NFL in total points scored. And a lot of those points are going to come on the ground. Jane Daniels is going to run the ball a ton. The passing volume shouldn't be there. And you can also say, oh, well, Lamar Jackson's an elite level quarterback. Has Lamar ever had a wide receiver one in fantasy come out and absolutely crush? Not really. So I'm not saying Jaden Daniels is going to be bad at all. I think Jaden Daniels could be very good. And I think Daniels, for a fantasy perspective, is a great pick given his rushing upside. But to just say like, oh, training camp reports saying Jaden Daniels is going to be really good, that means Terry McLaurin's going to be really good. Doesn't really work like that. Now, Curtis Samuel goes, Ramondre goes. Interesting to see DeAndre Hopkins go pick 82. Yeah. El Cubano says got Hopkins at pick 95. Insole says, are you worried about Herbert's injury possibly lingering into the start of the season? I think so. I mean, you also have to consider the fact this is a new coaching staff here. So I think it is a little bit worrisome that Justin Herbert's not going to get those valuable reps, especially with Ladd, like a rookie wide receiver. I think you have to be concerned. I mean, it's definitely not good news. I'm not moving Justin Herbert up my rankings, so it's definitely moving him down. We'll go ahead. We will take Zamir White at pick 91. I mean, the best wide receiver here is Courtland Sutton. So I don't know how excited we are to go the wide receiver route. But, of course, real quick, let me remind you if you're coming in what we are doing here. I draft on Underdog Fantasy every single day. I've done it every single day for years. They're best ball drafts, so there's no time commitment during the year. That's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. That's how I won $150,000 on Underdog. And I'm going to do this every single day until the season starts. And Underdog actually is going to drop a flock tournament every Monday and Thursday until the season starts, which I couldn't be happier about. So if you want to join with us, if you want to draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, in the live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you will get my 2024 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, rankings, and draft cheat sheet that will all be sent out, updated every Sunday until the start of the season. If you use code FLOCK on an Underdog account 2024, made a $10 deposit. And you can do that yesterday, today, back in January, tomorrow, doesn't matter. And also, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. And I got everybody hooked up that uses code FLOCK with a CMC special pick'em, more than less than half a total rushing yard for week 1 against the Jets, which I'm super pumped about as well. Okay. But yeah, that email with all the draft guide, ADP consensus, cheat sheet, my rankings, and everything will come out updated every Sunday as we get injury updates, trade updates, et cetera, et cetera. It'll be emailed to you with the email address you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. But we could go with an unstacked Jaden Daniels here and then target. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go Jaden Daniels. We're going to target Jahan Dotson a little later on. Because, I mean, if you look at our other options here, we could go Zach Moss as our 5th running back. Feel like it's an awkward spot to take our 5th running back. I mean, by round 9. And it also puts us in a position where we're not able to take another running back through the rest of this draft. So we're going to go Daniels. We could go Joshua Palmer and then target Justin Herbert a little later on. But as we mentioned previously, I do want to be putting a slight discount on the Chargers passing offense now that you have the Herbert injury. Okay, Cali Kid says, what's up, Mason? 10-team redraft, 2-player keeper. Needed Josh Allen, Swift, Kyron, Olave, Reed, Kelsey, Eckler, Montgomery, Deontay McBride. We have the 10th pick. Kyron RB1, Josh Allen QB1 overall, Kelsey and elite tight ends. Are we just picking 2 guys to keep? If we're just picking 2 guys to keep, my friend, it's going to be Kyron Williams and Josh Allen. Or Kyron Williams, Travis Kelsey, depending on how you believe your league mates are going to value quarterback. But yeah, great team. Okay. Drusifer says, Stroud averaged a measly 1.7 points per game more than Derek Carr. Let me pull this up because I know a lot of people hold CJ Stroud's fantasy finish against him last season. But let's be honest with each other. And I don't want to say be honest with each other. Let's give CJ Stroud some context to his total points scored last season. CJ Stroud was a rookie quarterback last season. How many times have we ever seen a rookie quarterback be viable in fantasy that does not give you rushing upside? The second thing is CJ Stroud dealt with the Tank Dell injury. The third thing is CJ Stroud now gets Stephon Diggs coming over. The third thing is this is just a complete lie. CJ Stroud last season averaged 18.4 fantasy points per game. And Derek Carr last season averaged 14.2 fantasy points per game. CJ Stroud did not average 1.7 points per game more over Derek Carr. CJ Stroud, as a rookie with no Stephon Diggs and an injured Tank Dell, averaged 4.2 fantasy points per game more over Derek Carr. If you look at quarterbacks that played 10 or more games, CJ Stroud was the QB7 as a rookie. So, you're saying season totals. You're saying CJ Stroud's going to be bad in fantasy this year. Just make sure we're on the same page. CJ Stroud's going to be bad in fantasy, and he only averages 1.5 points more than Derek Carr because CJ Stroud missed 2 games last season. CJ Stroud missing 2 games last season has legitimately zero impact on how you should project him this year. So, yes. I don't know where you heard this from, my friend. I don't know if you heard this like on a podcast or something, but I would please or encourage you to correct them next time they say that. Stroud averaged 4.5 points per game more over Derek Carr, not 1.5. Okay. And he was a rookie, and he's a better situation this year. Okay. I mean, CJ Stroud was just the best rookie quarterback that I personally have ever seen. I know some people say Andrew Luck, blah, blah, blah. CJ Stroud was a rookie quarterback that was a legitimate MVP candidate. And now he has a much better wide receiver room. Okay. Streamer Save says, Ayuk to the Bears. Did this actually happen? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to search Ayuk on Twitter right now, and then we're going to go. This didn't happen. You got me. Ayuk. I've only searched Ayuk's name on Twitter 1,000 times today. Let's go to Shefty. Yeah, no news. I mean, still, same thing that's been happening with Ayuk. You have 1,000 people coming out saying, oh, Ayuk deal's done. Ayuk's extended. He's staying in San Francisco. Then on the other end, you have 1,000 other people going, oh my gosh, Ayuk is traded to Pittsburgh. Ayuk's gone. But yeah, I mean, a bunch of people think Ayuk's getting dealt to the Steelers. A bunch of people think Ayuk's staying. I have no idea. Nova Elite says 12-team full PPR 3-player keeper league. Who do we keep from CMC, Breeze, Stroud, Saquon, Diggs, or Olave? Thank you. No, thank you, my friend. We're going to keep CMC, Brees, and Saquon. CMC, Brees, and Saquon. In a league, we're going to start 2 running backs, 1 flex, because you're going to get super strong values, and that's an obnoxious start for you. Nab says, Shalom, my goat. It is August. We are so back. Excited for the football content, good sir. Who's your sleeper this year? About to start some underdog drafts. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. So my sleeper for underdog drafts, where if you're drafting and you're trying to chase upside for weeks 15, 16, 17, is Jordan Addison. In your regular redraft league, Jordan Addison probably doesn't really matter. If you're looking for a sleeper in your regular redraft league, I honestly think that Jacobs, who I take him here in round 5, and your ESPN drafts is going to be more expensive. There he's going at the 3-4 turn. But I think if you can get Jacobs at the end of the 3rd, the beginning of the 4th, in what should be the best offense he's ever played in, I think it should be a really good spot. Okay. Okay. Juicever, I don't mind you saying that CJ Stroud's a bad pick with where he's going and you should take quarterbacks that run the ball. But when you lie about statistics to make that argument, it just loses credibility for it. Like, it's like me going, oh, hey, everybody. Don't know if you heard, but Bryce Young outscored Patrick Mahomes last season. Patrick Mahomes doesn't run the ball. He shouldn't take him. You know what I mean? So we're going to go ahead. We will take Dotson. Dotson's a really easy pick when we have Daniels. Like I said, don't expect the passing volume to be super high in Washington this year. So personally, I'm not taking Terry McLaurin round 4, but because I think Jaden Daniels can run the ball and put up a ton of points, fine taking him, and I'm fine taking Jahan Dotson at pick 139. Okay. Sean says, how do you feel about leagues with defensive players? If fantasy football is meant to be fun, if you would have fun in an IDP league and you would have fun tracking individual defensive players, rooting for tackles, rooting for interceptions, rooting for sacks, you do you. Personally, I would be completely lost if I was going out there and I was trying to follow everything from an offensive perspective and then all of a sudden add in the defensive side of the ball. I only have so much I can hold in this tiny little brain. So I personally don't play in any IDP leagues, but I completely understand why it would be a lot of fun for someone else. Okay. Demario Douglas goes 147. Let's move this over. Ooh, they may tempt me. They may tempt me. They may make me go Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnston. We're running back the classics, ladies and gentlemen. We are running back the classics. We'll take Justin Herbert here, pick 150. And get ready. Start stretching. Start looking for him. Quentin Johnston, come on down. There is always room for you on the Flock Fantasy Squad. Now, am I recommending anybody else to follow us in this decision? No. You are too smart to draft Quentin Johnston. I am what the kids would call an idiot. So we will maybe take him. Dyson says receivers to target in round 2 after taking Brees. So in your regular redraft league, the wide receivers that should be available to you at the end of round 2 will be like Harrison, London, Nico, Olave, Waddle, Adams, Debo, Ayuk, Evans. If Ayuk were to get dealt, I'm for sure targeting Debo. But outside of this other list, I think Nico, London, Harrison are probably the ways that you go. And Waddle. The guy that will probably be gone by the time you're up and I'm not really taking is Devontae Adams just because I think he's going to be in a bad offense. Okay. Chase says, who's winning the Super Bowl this year, Mason? Hot takes only. I will pull up Super Bowl odds so I can make sure I'm giving you a hot take because I may say like, oh, the Packers, and then we look at it up and the Packers are the third favorite to win the Super Bowl. So I will look this up at the moment. Okay. NFL Super Bowl odds, the lines. Okay, so right now, odds to win the Super Bowl. Chiefs 6-1, Niners 6.25-1, Ravens 10-1, Lions 12-1, Bengals 15-1, Eagles 15-1, Texans 16-1, Bills 17-1, Cowboys 19-1, Packers 19-1. If I had to pick out of this list, my favorite odds, probably Bills 17-1. I think people probably just have Bills fatigue at this point. But, we get sniped on Quentin Johnston, so a team saves us from ourselves. Thank you, my friend, for saving us. We're going to go ahead instead. We will pivot over to Mr. Noah Fant. And this may be an interesting squad where we decide to go with 3 quarterbacks and take Gino. Gino says, didn't mean to snipe you, but not taking Burton or Bateman over Johnson. Too good of a spot. Not going to blame you at all, my friend. Not going to blame you at all. August says, where did I use code FLOCK and try to get the discount? So if you follow the link in the description or the link in the live chat, it should automatically put code FLOCK in for you as you make your account. But just as you go through the steps to make your account on Underdog, just look for the promo code, a spot, and you can manually put it in as well. But if you go through the link in the description comment section, should be good to go. Okay. Michael says, I guess they're not letting us do a draft in Florida because I live in Mulberry near Tampa and Lakeland, and I got Underdog. It just lets me... My friend, you can do drafts. You're just not looking in the right spot. I lived in Tampa. Here's where you can do Underdog drafts. Here's the map. Florida is on that, my friend. I lived in Tampa, and I drafted probably 500 teams my time there. You're just on the Pick'em tab. Go over to the drafts tab. Okay. No, I'm sorry. You cannot add a code to an existing account. That's the Matt's question. You can add a code to a new account, not an existing account. Okay. Do we know we need to go 3 quarterbacks? Can I get away with going... I'm sorry, 3 tight ends. Can I get away with going 3 quarterbacks? We can, because we're still going to be able to get one more receiver. It's blah, blah, blah. Kat says, why are some states ineligible? It's just whatever the state's fantasy what's it called? Regulatory, the fantasy regulatory framework. I mean, it's like the same question. Oh, why is DraftKings not available in my state? It's the same thing. It's just the U.S. has it as a state-by-state thing. Okay. I'm going to move this down. Mr. Bunn says, how do we get the newsletter without the promo, not a new Underdog? So you want to get on the email list updates, but if you just wanted to get the draft guide every time it's updated and get the rankings every time it's updated, you can go to flockfantasy.com if you want to purchase it there. And yeah, if you go to flockfantasy.com, use code FLOCK. And if you do an annual Mother Flocker subscription, yours truly will break down your fantasy football team in a live stream or a podcast after you draft it. But Ian says, my first year doing best ball, this draft I kind of failed. Check out the team at 3 and give you some PS while typing this. It gave me fan. All good, my guy. Let's go ahead and let's check this out. So team 3, Tyreek Barkley, really like to start out the gate. I mean, Neighbors is not my personal pick at the beginning of the third, but I agree when you go Barkley, you do want to be going wide receiver round 3. So I think structurally it's the right pick. Christian Kirk, 46. In terms of the other wide receivers that were available, nobody that's really exciting. I just personally like going ETN there instead, but you do need to get a receiver at least. My thing is, I would rather have Brian Thomas and Travis Etienne than Christian Kirk, Kenneth Walker. So I personally, at the 6-7 turn, find myself there taking wide receivers very often. Because I think like Brian Thomas, Rome Odunze, they're kind of the same upside that you have with Kirk. And then I'll look at the rest of it in just one second. Let me make my pick. We are going to go with Jonnu Smith, a tight end that looks like he is not even a guaranteed starter. And I should have gone DJ Chark, but I wasn't paying attention. But anyway, yeah, moving on. I think my main issue is like going with the Christian Kirk there at 46 rather than just going wide receiver at 70 and 75. Bowers at 94, Pollard, Chase Brown, Tua to stack with Tyreek. I think also if you go quarterback 75 and quarterback 123, I personally, and I could be wrong about this, I don't know if I'm going to go with a third quarterback as well. But I definitely could be wrong on that. Okay, let's move this over. And we're done taking running backs. Like I said, we have 5 in this draft. We are wide receiver tight ends. I should have taken DJ Chark in the last round to pair up with Justin Herbert, but we were reading the message and I got off topic, so it's my fault. Tyron Tracy, good for us to see running backs go. Yoshi off the board. Why are y'all calling him Yoshi? Where's that from? I think we're going to go Tyler Boyd. I think Boyd potentially gets a bump up with the DeAndre Hopkins injury. And then we're going to queue up another tight end, but honestly, I have podcasts I need to make. I don't care. We're going to get another draft. I want to get in these drafts before they close. So we're going to fire up another draft really quick. And let me queue up some tight ends, though. We would take Chig, Sanat, Jawan, Knox, Theo Johnson. Okay, let's move this over. We're going to get in another one of these. There's so many tournaments right now. $8 Dachshund, I think this is how you say it. Let's go ahead and let's get in. We're in here. And we're pick 6 yet again. So let's see how this team looks and if it's any different than the last one. James says Chubb for most rushing touchdowns, 30-1 for a couple dollars. I'd say no. Bets like that are just sports books taking your money. I mean, what odds would I have to get on Chubb most rushing touchdowns to be interested in betting it? Probably, I don't want to say 100-1, but pretty close. Because the thing is, I mean, Chubb could still absolutely crush the final 8 weeks. But from a totals perspective, he's not going to be there. Dyson says 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight end, quarterback. Best start in a 10-team league, best order. It's so hard to say this one for one, my friend. If you don't even have a flex spot, do not be drafting wide receiver early. Get an elite quarterback, get an elite tight end, and grab an elite running back. And obviously, you're not going to take a tight end or quarterback till rounds 2 or 3, so grab your running back first. I'll check to see if Underdog does 10-team. Tournaments? No, I think Underdog only does 12-team tournaments. In terms of season-long tournaments. Underdog does 10-team, like, regular drafts if you just want to draft against 9 other people. Let me confirm on that for you, though, before I guarantee anything. Jefferson goes, so this is going to be another draft where we get St. Brown. It would have been very interesting to get Chase falling to us. But let me look. Yeah, if you look at just like the regular drafts that aren't tournaments, Underdog does 2, 3, 4, 6, 10, 12 person drafts. I mean, you can join whatever size league you want. Callie said, full BBR 10-team redraft league, best strategy to win it at pick 6. My guy, I mean, it's impossible for me to sit here and tell you in 15 seconds what you should be doing in pick 6 without even knowing your league settings. I'll reiterate, if you're in a 10-team league where you start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, pick 6, probably want to be going with the running back unless CMC, Bijan, Brees are all off the board. Then you can pivot over to a receiver. But then afterwards, probably want to be following it up with the running back relatively soon, getting yourself an elite quarterback, getting yourself an elite tight end. But the more flex spots you add and the more wide receiver slots you add to your starting lineup requirements, the more it will be interesting for you to pivot over and instead go with wide receivers early. Okay. So Olave off the board. Puka makes it down to 14, which is interesting. We'll take Debo. I actually think that Debo is an easy pick in tournaments right now because I think it's either one of 2 things. Debo Samuel is either a great value if Ayuk gets dealt, or Debo Samuel is a horrible pick if Ayuk stays. And if we're like in an $8 tournament where it's a $200,000, $300,000 prize pool, I think we want to be chasing these guys that have wide ranges of outcomes to move in ADP dramatically. So we're going to continue to take Debo Samuel in round 2 because if Ayuk does get sent to Pittsburgh, I think Debo jumps Olave, Nico, Adams, Harrison, London. I still have him after Puka, Garrett Wilson. Matt says, is Debo a good pick in redraft leagues in the 4th? I would say so. especially if it's a league where you have multiple flex spots. Jimmy says, are we considering Debo a horrible pick if Ayuk doesn't leave? I feel like he can still be fine at this. I don't want to say horrible is a wrong choice of words. I agree with you. But if I knew for a fact that Brandon Ayuk was a Niner this year, there's no way I'm taking Deebo Samuel over Saquon Barkley. If you told me, Mason, 100% certainty, Brandon Ayuk signed his extension, he will be in San Fran, I would take Saquon Barkley over Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, Saquon Barkley over Deebo Samuel. I'm taking Barkley over Henry no matter what. My favorite start on Underdog right now, just in case y'all don't know, is wide receiver, Kyron Williams. Rule of thumb, super easy to do. Obviously, you need a right pick to do it. You need a pick at 4, 5, 6, but if you get it, I'd go for it. Okay. But Cup, Diggs, Amari all off. Yeah. Kyron in this Rams situation is another one of those spots where, as we were talking about previously, I'm getting the itch, and I just want to know what happens. But please, Kyron Williams, repeat what you did last year. Which, if you look at the historical data with his age and his production, you're not seeing a ton of drop-offs. Okay. Zay Flowers goes 36. Pacheco goes. I have a few guys that I would really be excited about making it to us at 43. We just have to see if it happens. Thomas says, do you feel like Laporta is going too early? No, I think Laporta is going too late. I love Laporta in the 3rd, 4th round. Hurts, I'm really taking on A.J. Brown pills. I think we're going to go T. Higgins. Burrow's been falling a ton in drafts at the moment, and I really like the option to pair up Higgins with Burrow. Okay. Sean says, do you think in a redraft 12-team 6-point passing touchdown league, it's worth taking the top 3 quarterbacks? No. If it's a 1-quarterback league, I understand the thought process, thinking like, oh, I can take 2 elite quarterbacks and then trade one of these guys later. Don't do that. If it works out, cool. Maybe you can take a quarterback in the 4th and trade him for someone that maybe went at the beginning of the 4th. But if it doesn't work out, you're screwed. Clubbo says, who should be my number 1 keeper in a PPR league? A.J. Brown or Lamar? Quarterback scoring, who rules are? You get a point per essentially 20 passing yards. The issue is here, if I tell you to keep A.J. Brown and all your league mates keep QB, given I've played in this exact QB scoring format, then you're kind of screwed. The thing is, though, Lamar Jackson in that scoring format where it's a 6-point passing touchdown league and you get more points than usual for passing yards, Lamar's not as appealing in comparison to his ranking against other options in fantasy football. As what makes Lamar so exciting is his rushing upside. And you're not getting extra points for Lamar on his rushing upside there. So like a quarterback like Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford is actually a lot closer to Lamar Jackson in that format than he would be otherwise. So I'd probably still keep A.J. Brown. Unless you know like every other one of your league mates is going to keep quarterback and you're afraid you're going to end up with Geno. I don't like taking Hollywood Brown. I've already drafted a ton of Jaden Reed, so I think we're going to take James Cook here at pick 54. I was really hoping we're going to get Josh Jacobs. Y'all know, like we said, Jacobs is one of my favorite picks in this range, but it is what it is. Brian says, is first good in a double flex league to take CMC? Hell yeah. I mean, I would really like pick 1 overall, and I'd love to take CMC. Okay. King Rube says, Mason, how do you manage the workload between these streams and competing in 6 different Olympic sports? Honestly, the 6 different Olympic sports, no problem for me. Like, it's very easy for me to be able to just time management fit into my schedule. What's very difficult for me is my 6 separate girlfriends, fitting them into the schedule. That's what is hard to do with these streams. So, I don't know. I would probably recommend for most people here to cap it at like 3 or 4. Because once you get to 6, it's tough, my friend. It is tough. But the 6 Olympic sports is no problem. I mean, I was born to do it. I don't even really show up to practice or anything. Okay, let's move this over. Yeah, and Vaughn knows it exactly. Like, if y'all want to make sure you can spot me in the next swimming event at the Olympics, like clearly we're in France right now, just look for the guy that's swimming with the suit jacket. Jaden Reed goes 65. I would have loved Jaden Reed here. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take George Kittle. We'll pair up Kittle, Debo, and we'll make this the team. What if Ayuk gets dealt? If Ayuk gets dealt, then all of a sudden, I mean, we are just crushing here. Where I think Debo flies up to the 1-2 turn, and I think you also get a bump up with Kittle, where Kittle kind of flies up to the Andrews range with no Ayuk. Now, Deontay Johnson goes pick 70. Jake talking about Jake clearly showing that he's never had 6 girlfriends before. Asking if we have any data to support those claims about the 6 girlfriends, any Google spreadsheets. The rule number 1 about having 6 girlfriends is you don't leave a paper trail, my friend. You think I'm going to go on my computer and I'm going to write down all 6 names, all 6 phone numbers, all my guy? Clearly, you're new to this game. I'll teach you a thing or two, but yeah, rule number 1, no paper trail. I can say it in the live stream because I've specifically given instructions to all 6 to not watch this live stream. John's my wingman. The strategy is we go out. John stands next to me. It immediately makes me look much better in comparison. And it's real easy, real easy. Montgomery goes. After Montgomery's off, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Keon Coleman. Like I said, I really do like taking Keon Coleman in the middle of the 7th. Wide receiver 47. Potential wide receiver 1 for Josh Allen. I didn't really like him as a prospect, but honestly, it doesn't freaking matter. If you're the wide receiver 1 for Josh Allen, getting you at a low-end wide receiver 4, high-end wide receiver 5 price tag, I'm in. Okay. Isaac says, this guy's actually really funny on Instagram. I don't know if y'all have seen him. Isaac says, Mason is actually Zacharific when the cameras aren't on. Super humble guy. That guy is so funny. If y'all don't, I'm sure maybe y'all have seen him and y'all don't know what it is. That's the guy, like, he'll... Like, he puts, like one of his super viral things is he made, like, an Instagram reel, and he put the location set to, like, Sydney Sweeney's crib. And he just, like, was like, guys, I'm trying to record a reel, but I can't get the location to turn off. This is super annoying. Does anybody know how to do this? Like, it's really annoying. It's ruining my reel. It's stuff like that. He's super funny. Nicholas says, hey, Mason, in the classic redraft format, where I don't have to give up a pick, should I pick Stroud, Kyron, or Mixon as my 1 keeper? I'd personally go Kyron, my friend. I mean, even regardless of age or any long-term appeal, I think if it's a 1 keeper league, I only care about this season. I think Kyron's the best option for this year. Sean says, can you explain your answer if it's 2 QB or Mixon? If it's a 2 quarterback league, then for sure go ahead and you can take 2 elite quarterbacks, and you don't, because then you don't even have to look to trade them. You can just hog them onto your team. But if it's like a one quarterback league and you take Josh Allen and then you're deciding between Patrick Mahomes, Joe Mixon, like ask yourself, where do you see you trading Patrick Mahomes to? Do you think you're going to be able to turn around and sell Patrick Mahomes to the team that has Saquon Barkley? Probably not. If that team wanted Mahomes, they would have just taken Mahomes, you know? So, I don't know. Thomas says, why do you skip over Burrow? One, because I already set ourselves up with a potential interesting stack where we could have Goff, we could have Purdy. And two, Evan Ingram never makes it down to pick 91. So I do think it'll be a unique combo here, getting Evan Ingram at 91. Dylan asking when the wide receiver rankings are coming out. Should be tomorrow, hopefully. We'll see if the editor gets it done. Jimmy says, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 2 flex. Do quarterback, tight end become less valuable redraft? Yes, the further you expand your starting lineup, and I'll write this up in the draft guide. I've written this before in Dynasty draft guides. But the more wide receiver potential starters you add in, just if you look at an overall pie chart, the smaller piece of the pie will come from quarterback scoring or tight end scoring. So if it's a 2 wide receiver single flex league, tight end's actually going to make up a decent percentage of your lineup. So getting someone like Laporta or Kelsey can give you a significant edge. But if you can start 5 wide receivers, I don't care. I'll punt tight end. I'll have freaking Kate Otten there, and I'm going to crush you at wide receiver in the flex. Okay. Let's move this over. Cortland Sutton goes pick 99. We're done at tight end, right? Whenever we have George Kittle and Evan Ingram, we are done there. David Njoku goes pick 100. Good for us. Zach Moss off the board. Awkward spot. I am going to go Tony Pollard. I'm fine with the Pollard price point. I think we kind of know who Tony Pollard is. He's an average running back that can occasionally be efficient. But getting him here at pick 102, I'm okay with. The one thing is this Tennessee Titans coaching staff has mentioned time and time again that they're going to air the ball out, and the main thing that they care about with these running backs is their ability to catch the ball. But honestly, Spears and Pollard can both catch the ball. Okay. Next says, Mason, can you explain why my girlfriend leaves the bedroom every evening and I hear your streams from the other room? I'm actually going to have a talk with her about that, my friend, because like I said previously, I've specifically told my 6 girlfriends to not watch these streams. So if she's upset, if she just heard me talking about the fact that I have 5 other women, please calm her down for me. Okay. The season's coming up. I don't have time to deal with it. Okay. Dear God, what just happened? Did something just happen with y'all's screen? That was very weird. Okay. Let's move this over. God, I hope I'm not getting hacked. Hopefully one of them are... Hopefully it didn't upset them too bad. We'll see. We'll see. Now, like I said, we're still done at tight end. Goddard not in play. We could go Brock Purdy. We have Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Brock Purdy would be a solid pick for us. Let's see if we have to worry about any of these other teams. I don't think the Ayuk team's on this side, so I think we should be good. Yeah, the Ayuk and CMC teams are on the other side. Shaheed goes 113. Lockett goes. So we are going to take Brock Purdy, and we will get the Kittle Deebo double stack. Vaughn says, any lore behind the suits? To be completely honest with you, whenever I started on YouTube, I was 19 years old, and everybody else making fantasy football stuff was in their 40s. And I'm assuming a ton of people who were watching me were in their 40s. And I went, how can I let them know that I'm taking this seriously and trying my hardest and not look so young? So I went, if I wear a suit, I'll probably look a little older. And then I started wearing them. And now I'm in too deep. Now I'm old enough to be balding. I'm old enough where I don't think anybody needs to Nobody's viewing me as a kid, at least maybe. I don't know. So I don't think we need the suit anymore, but it's too late. We've gone down this road, which is why you'll see underneath, I'm just wearing regular t-shirts, but we'll throw in the jacket. Okay. Now, let's move this over. No tight end, QB, running back, receiver. Shakir falling a ton, but if you do look at Shakir's ADP, like I talk about, it is a fake ADP just because typically it's the Josh Allen team who takes him. We'll take Dontavian Wicks. So like I said, we came up with that consensus ADP list that I've been working on. And looking at the ADP that you have from redraft formats in comparison to what you have on Underdog, like Dontavian Wicks goes significantly earlier in Underdog drafts than pretty much anywhere else. Anywhere else, I mean. Smooth this over. Austin says, Mason, does it matter when I use your code and sign into my Underdog account? And how does it all work to get the draft guide with Underdog? So you signed up to Underdog in 2024 and used code FLOCK when you signed up and made a $10 deposit. Every Sunday, you're going to get emailed, updated draft guide, updated rankings, and that draft cheat sheet. If you had already done that like a month or two ago, you already got an email last night. But if you do it right now, you get another email on Sunday. Matt says, for anyone in the chat who may be too old for the young slang, whenever he says PPR, it means points per reception. He's just using slang chat. Is this, I think I've seen a viral Instagram reel of someone doing, what was it? I don't know. I feel like I've seen that reference before from like a reel of like someone playing like Fortnite. Okay. So let's move this over. And my computer feels like it's about to explode. I think someone's hacking into me. It's no bueno. We may have to shut down the stream. Oh, okay. This is what it is. That's what it was. It was the guy in Fortnite that was like, saying like, oh, multiply by 1,000 by 400. I mean, yeah, multiply 4 by 1,000. It was like 4,000. Oh, you did it with a calculator. That's impossible. Like, it was pretty funny. Have y'all seen the funny Instagram reels of the... I honestly feel bad. Like, I watch them, but it's... So, I told y'all like a couple months ago how I watched the guy that messes with the prank... messes with the scam callers from India, where he'll like put a voice filter on his voice and he'll sound like a grandma and he'll waste as much time as theirs as possible and try to make him as mad as possible. I feel good about watching that because the scam callers deserve to get messed with. But there's something that I watch occasionally on Instagram Reels where it's this like guy who messes with people on Facebook Marketplace, where he'll ask them to like, if they're like trying to sell scissors or whatever for like $10, he'll send them like a voice message going, do the scissors work? Can you cut a piece of paper for me? Send a video. And they'll go through and like, it's just really, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But I do feel bad about it because he does just mess with, what's it called? Innocent people that are, kind of little funny. It is a little funny if you're trying to sell like scissors on Facebook Marketplace for $5. But yeah, nice but oh wow, thanks for the video. Probably a horrible impression, but anyway. Okay. Like I said, we're done at tight end. We're quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Do we go sticky right now? I don't think we go sticky, Ricky. We already have 3 Niners. I think we just go ahead, take Chuba Hubbard here. Yeah, no, I draft Hubbard a decent amount. But yeah, like I said, my computer's having issues. We've already done a bunch of drafts. I have team breakdowns that I need to do. I have to walk this dog. I have to eat dinner. And we're already off the rails. So appreciate you guys. Really hope that y'all have a great Friday night. Of course, I'll be live. Actually, I may not be live tomorrow. I may be going to see the grandparents tomorrow. If I am live tomorrow, it will be super, super late. But hopefully we'll have a video tomorrow for you. We'll see. But regardless, really do appreciate you. I'm going to be drafting on Underdog pretty much every single day. We'll have those drafts for the flock tournaments every Monday, Thursday night going forward. So really hope you join one with us. Like I said, code FLOCK, link in the description, comment section, live chat, find it everywhere. Much love. Really appreciate you. Really hope we get to see you out with the live stream either tomorrow or Sunday.